association with Ghana Atomic Commission and Ghana Spaceship Institute, would like to invite you to attend the New Dawn, Africa's Meteoric Rise in Spaceship Technology Conference, October 17th through 19th, 2016, in Ghana. Keshe Foundation Ghana's mandate is to build awareness and promote research into plasma technology. The foundation is presently working with governmental institutions and other interest groups in Ghana to fulfill this goal. At the conference, you will be afforded the opportunity to learn about and experience plasma technology firsthand. The cost of admission to the conference includes 3-night stay in one of Ghana's prestigious hotels. Hotel packages include a single, double, or twin room option, and an option for an apartment or suite. Breakfast, tea, and coffee breaks and a buffet lunch on the days of the conference are also included. Keshe Foundation Ghana is focused on utilizing plasma technology to solve numerous problems facing the African nation. Come to the New Dawn, Africa's Meteoric Rise in Spaceship Technology Conference in Ghana. Learn about plasma technology and learn how you can participate in spreading the word about it. Together, we can bring freedom to Africa and humanity. And we hope to see you there. The Universal Council invites you to attend the One Planet, One Nation, One Race event in Rome on the 9th and 10th of September 2016. The Council looks forward to open interaction with the public at the event. Come interact with the Council in your spoken language. The Council encourages you to bring your positive suggestions and solutions to the table on how humanity can move forward as a whole towards everlasting peace. In this way, the work of the members of the Council will become the work of humanity for humanity. The full package price for a single ticket to the event includes 3-night stay in one of Rome's prestigious hotels, daily attendance to the event, as well as breakfast on the 9th through the 11th, and lunch and tea on the 9th and 10th. Accommodations for this package is based on double occupancy. The full package price for 2 tickets to the event includes 3-night stay in a twin-bed room in one of Rome's prestigious hotels, daily attendance to the event, as well as breakfast on the 9th through the 11th, and lunch and tea on the 9th and 10th. Additional night stay are offered at €150 per person per night. For those who wish to arrange their own accommodations and who plan on attending a single day of the event, the cost will be €200, which includes tea and lunch on the day of the event. For those who wish to arrange their own accommodations and who plan on attending both days of the event, the cost will be €400, which includes tea and lunch on the day of the event. The One Planet, One Nation, One Race event in Rome. Come share your positive solutions on how we can work together to bring everlasting peace to our world.
Welcome everyone to the 125th Knowledge Seekers Workshop at the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. It's Friday, July 29th, 2016. And for this special workshop, we've entitled it New Disclosure. And Mr. Keshe promises to disclose some new information that will be quite revolutionary today, I understand. So I believe he's ready. Let's move right away to Mr. Keshe. Are you there, Mr. Keshe?
Yes. Good morning, good day to you as usual, wherever and whenever we listen or we watch these teachings. As you understood yesterday, I had to go into an emergency meeting with some overseas high-level officials for work of the foundation. It could not be delayed because they had a flat schedule. Today, we are going to carry on with what was supposed to be done yesterday because it's important. One of our colleagues has achieved what we explained. They're trying to replicate it for a second time and record it because when it happened, they didn't see it. They have achieved the flashlight and left. And if they can replicate it, they will come back to you. So we are on the way, as we promised, for a complete progress on either way. And we are developing different technologies that can help to achieve these kind of things. One of the most important parts of this technology which is missed, and in a way we have to go back to it, and in a structured way for you to understand, is that in the process of the teaching in the past few weeks and months, we showed how we came from the sun into the what we call the transfer of the fields into the earth atmosphere condition, and from this matters of this planet started. And then with the gas technology we produced gases which in a way we come to the same circles. We have created a condition of sun, we have created condition of the matter state conversion. But in this process a lot of you missed something very important, and the talk of today is about this. Can you see my writing clearly, or does it need to be corrected? How do you want me to adjust it? No, it's a self-focus system. It's a self-focus system. There's not much I can do with it. You can read it, no problem. Okay, so what we have come to is reality. We missed on a part what we were looking for and what we have achieved. So in this process we have missed something important, and this is part of it today. If you look, magnetic field, gravitational fields from one strength, they became gravitational magnetic field of the other strength. That's a natural process in the universe. And then us using nanomaterials and matter coming to the gas state and then going back to the field, we have become and be helped the other side of it. This was the natural process of the universe. In this section we created our own new system. But if you look at the whole condition and return back to the energy that we see now with your pens that you absorb, pain and other things, we have completed the circle. And the purpose of these teachings was this, to say, and this is, if you go back and read my papers, the unified field theory completes this theory. We have confirmed the unification of the fields, but is not as one field but as two, one magnetical and one gravitational. That's why there was a problem in the past decades or centuries that we could not understand. And when you speak about the unified field theory, it means both gravitational and magnetical. We have to call it unified plasma than field. And in this process we have understood the totality of the structure of the creation of matter. So if you go back into what has been and what has been discussed many times, many years by scientists in unified field theory, now for the first time as in one group we understand it. And if we apply this and understand it, we can become two major breakthroughs. Separation of the matter state and the plasma. And this has been one of our biggest problems, as I started yesterday and I had to leave. We always considered this. We never considered this. We never considered this state because we are too materialistic. In the matter state of this planet, this was the only concern for us. The other two were something which there we never understood, so we ignored it. So when you come to the principle of unified field theory, now you understand it is unified. All starts from one, ends to other, and then goes back to where it started. Doesn't matter where, at what point you draw the line. You can draw the line here, it still goes through the same process. You start here, it still goes through the same process. So in a very simple way, we have unified the field theory, we understand it. So it's the next step to go forward, to develop technologies, but from now on, be aware at which state of the condition we are talking about. Are we talking at the source? Are we talking at the conversion to a matter state? Are we talking at the conversion in a plasma state? This will change a lot for us in the world of science. This will change everything which we planned or we understood, not to destroy, but literally being able to classify, separate, put together, and understand this. Each one has its own work, but at the end, one does not exist without the other, because it has to come to or go from. One of the biggest problems which you have faced and has been an obstacle in the teachings, and I tried many times, I emphasized on it, but because it was not understood, was how you convert from one to another and how you go from one to another. Many times in teachings, in the books, I set the precondition or at least the explanation of this, and today I complete it. And by the time I complete the teaching today, we have completed a more and a full cycle of understanding of the conversion. If you go back into the book 1, go back in understanding of neutron splitting into electron and a proton. If you go back to this understanding from the beginning, you start unraveling. And then the first pages of the book 1 and what has been taught in past 2 weeks, they come together. In the teaching, we spoke about principle. We spoke about transition. And we spoke about matter state. Go back to putting the two together. This is your proton. Now you have the same with the electron. You have the principle, the transition, and the matter state. If you go back to theoretical physics, they tell you the size and the dimension of each one of these. 1 to 2000. If you understood this, it's very simple. What is the principle in here? It becomes the matter in here. What is principle in here becomes the matter here. In the teachings and the support teaching with the innovation teams, which I work in the background with, I asked them in the past few days to build such a thing, in past 48 hours especially, to build a reactor, 2 reactor balls, where the material of the A is outside the A, and the material of B is inside the B. When you understand this proposition, in trying to reach from what you call the transition boundary out to the matter state of the other, now you understand how in the universal condition you move from one state to the other. This has been the secret of creation, which man has never understood. That's why you have an electron and a proton. That's why you have twin stars. That's why you have 2 parts of the brain, where in the center is the transition of the field. We call it in physical life emotion, where the emotion decides which will move to where and how. If it's more stronger on one side or weaker on the other. And if you understood this, you can convert any energy in the universe to any matter at any state in the universal condition. And when you go from one to another, if you notice, at the point of interaction, both of these points, here and here, and in totality of the field, you get a rapid conversion. In the human body, we call it enlightenment, understanding. In a physical operation of the reactor in motion and lift, you call it a light. If you look at what you call the UFO over Jerusalem, Christmas a few years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, you see the craft coming down and you see a flash of light and a vertical upright. This is what a competent captain can do, using his emotion to control the physicality, with it show its reaction. This is why I said we complete the science of man today. This is why, if you understand and the world of science understands, you can enter the domain of creation and you decide where this orange zone is going to be. How you communicate emotionally, how you communicate with the others emotionally, how you can elevate the principle or the soul of the man. We need to understand this. We need to add to this, that we can go ahead. We need to go in the steps that we can understand this transition. We can understand how to go from one to another. How a little of the principle can become a major part of the matter of the other. And in this process, what you create is motion. You saw this motion in the presentation of the rotation of the liquid with Dr. Guata. That's what I said. This video we saw will be a corner principle, the first step of man understanding of its own condition, where you have a GANs of two different states interacting with a GANs of another state at the bottom, where the transition and field forces created the rotation. If you understand this, and you can consider how in turbines we convert the rotation to fields in contraction and interaction to electricity, and you understood this principle, you can create balls, as is getting done by a lot of you, to produce megawatts of energy, not even kilowatts. It's you who's got to understand where to tap into. It's you who's got to understand how much energy I need to. Then you'll find out when you make two cores with two different filling of the same, you will create perpetual motion on both. By distancing them, you dictate the rotation of a speed, the flow of the fields, the strength of emotion, and the rest. This is where we have to complete the knowledge. This is where now you understand we need no generators. We need no nuclear fuel. We don't need anything at all except creation of fields. At the moment you put gases in these different areas, but in the coming stage, when we further the material understanding of the states, of all the states of matter, you will be dealing with what it is, no physical boundary as you see as a pen, but you'll be dealing only with fields. And that's what it'll be. And if you understand this, how you can deal with fields and convert one to the other, very soon you understand an amazing condition. You can have any entity in any direction in the world of creation. This means we do not need to create, we need to be in charge of the fields in the right order. And it can go from one to another. And one point in the center is that where you can have everything you want in that matter, field, or whatever. Because even at this point, you have both the principle, the transition, and the matter state. This is the point of the creator, where it exists in all dimensions. The rest of the creation in the universe works in these fields. If you can replicate, develop, and produce fields in this manner, you will see everything which we have said and it's been done. Vast amount of energy, any kind of food, any kind of material, any kind of motion. And this is what we come to a conclusion in teachings in so many ways, that you understand how this technology and all the teachings has brought us to the final point. To the point that, as I said in the past few teaching, from now on, you have to learn how you play. Which one do you want to connect to what? In what manner, in what condition would you like it to be affected by the environmental field or by your decision? You decide to create an environment in a given zone that you want to be and manifest itself as you want. This is part of the control. As I said, you wish gold will be in your hand because you use the atmosphere of this planet where it creates gold in respect to the condition of the sun, and your thoughts becomes the transition line. The end product is gold, and the beginning product is the energy of your soul or the sun. This is why I called for the teaching today, as I could not complete yesterday. And always has a reason. Always stands a reason. Always explains itself in a very different way and in a complete way. Some of you saw the motion yesterday of the pendulum, very light motion. Some of you saw the rotation of the liquid. Some of you will see some new things in the coming days as you mix and you decide in what and how you would like the mixture to be. In the setup which I set with Arman and the animation groups, it's very simple. We put the core, we put the second core, and we put the third core. The reason for it was very simple. That this core, for it to operate, needs to be in a floating condition that operates on its own strength. You can change this, but where are you going to find in the space? You can make it from the GANs, but where are you going to find the GANs in the space? The next step for you and the development of this technology is very simple. You started with physicality, you go to the source by accumulation of all the fields, and in that point, then the amount of energy of the physicality will reverse and will create the entity. Flash of a light. This is why the prophets of the past always they have seen a fire and light. They get enlightened by bringing their physicality into the essence of their soul, and by it they receive the light of the physicality of the universe. And with that second, they absorb most of the information that they can understand to transmit. And now all of you have the same capability. If you understand it, you reach the station of the prophets of the past and what we call the messengers of the universe. If you don't understand it, you battle it to stop it because it shows your own short-minded understanding of the knowledge of the universe. It's you who will understand. If you go from the center out, something very interesting happens. Now the center barrier from here moves to here. And what was the physicality becomes part of this center itself. This is the state of the soul of the man. This is the state of the operation of the stars. This is how galaxies and universes are created. Fields in the condition of environmental control, be it the womb of the mother, be it the universal atmospheric itself, be it the structure of the proton or electron. Once they created the matter state condition barrier, they feed themselves back in, they create the total energy, and they manifest themselves as an entity. As I said in the teaching, a sperm and an egg, they come together and together multiply to a point that they reach to create that hollow sphere in your reactors. You remember, you put the matter and you rotated it, and what you received was a hollow sphere, which is a central plasma. And then that central plasma will start radiating the fields out to dictate this condition. At the point of conversion, you see the light. Because so much energy which is gathered has to be released, and the interaction of the boundary of this with the environment will create the light. And you see it as a flashing light, as we've seen in the dome in Jerusalem. Then the same thing happens in the womb of the mother. This happens with all of you who made the spherical reactors and you saw the hollow center. If you could have added continuously from the material side into the center, the point would have come that the center would have opened up and you would have seen the light. You would have seen the field barrier, you call it the dome, you call it the atmosphere, or whatever you need to be. And this is where our teaching comes to. One of our team has seen the light this morning. After I announced that we're going to have a teaching today, something about a couple of hours ago, I received a message that they have witnessed the light. But what happens? I explained that the plasma fields come together, and in coming together, they merge to become something else, and in that process, the light is released. Is Douglas around, please?
Yes, sir, Mr. Keshe, I'm here.
Can you repeat the experiment?
Yes, I was following your instructions regarding putting the two cores together. And I told Brennan that I had some stuff in the garage that I was going to try pure pH, actually, which is a pure, it's organic, but pure alkalinity of 14. And
pure what? Can you repeat that?
Yeah, it's an alkalinity of 14. It's a pure, it's a natural substance used in raising the alkalinity of water up to 14 even to test and calibrate instruments with. So I had 3 reactor cores, inner cores, Caroline cores that were all made of a heavy substance, a heavy GaNs. When they were put in with the CH3, they all sank, and I couldn't get much of a reaction out of it. So I told Brennan I was going to try something that I knew I could raise the pH up in these really super fast by raising it up with a 14 pH. So I took out half of the CH3 out of the outer core of one of the reactor balls and filled it back up the other half with a pure 14 pH. It's an organic citrus solution, basically, and resealed the core and spun the core on top of the reactor. My wife was sitting here 3 feet behind me, and as I witnessed, number one, these balls float. For the first time, they floated. And I thought, wow, I've done something here. The other 3 are sunk. This one was sunk. Now it's floating. I've changed. I've done something right here because I've made this heavy substance float now. So now I'm going to spin it. This was my next idea. So I started spinning the ball while I was sitting in my chair, and my wife was behind me. And as I started spinning the ball, the inner ball that was floating immediately was like drawn to the bottom of the outer core, like some kind of magnetical force. It was really super fast. In the middle of this, directly to the top of the outer core, created a solid line of light that grew to about the size, not quite the width of a pencil, maybe a small painter's paintbrush, or maybe about maybe a 8-10 gauge wire, just a solid stream and a light like a prism. And I was standing up in my chair at the same time, just really coming apart at the seams, guys. I'm really, really excited about it now, and I'm trying to remain calm. My wife's witnessing this. The ball came completely off of the platform that I had it so I had enough clue on it to hold me onto that thing, I think. It managed to leave the platform and went straight up so fast up against my ceiling and busted into two pieces. And my first reaction was, holy cow, where's the reactor? Where's the reactor? And please don't step on, so we were looking down, and after everything had calmed down, the outer reactor unfortunately had busted into two pieces. These are two-piece acrylic balls that, unfortunately I've had to use toys, and I've had to cut them open with my knife. I didn't have the access to two-part balls, so I'm having to fabricate these things kind of myself anyway. So when it hit the ceiling, it smashed into two pieces. The inner core was fine. It was in another room. We don't know how it got there. It was, like I said, unscathed. And I have since then rebuilt the outer core and am waiting for it to complete drying this time. And my wife said the strange thing about all of this is this was instant for me. When I seen this light and this vortex, it was like a crystal being just starting from the top of this outside of the ball going straight to the inner ball, and it happened so fast, and I just leapt out of my chair, and my wife 3 feet behind me, it scared her because she said that everything was going in slow motion from her point of view, that I was moving like watching a replay on TV, like everything was moving real slow. She said she could actually see the fluid flying out of the ball as it left the platform. Now everything was instantaneous for me. And she said that this seemed to appear to go for like 4 or 5 seconds for her. So she was pretty astounded about where the ball